And ultimately that humility, we talk all the time about when people are emotionally unhealthy, they're inward focused, right? How does this affect me versus being outward focused? How does this affect my team? And that requires some humility. Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I am the founder of Forward Partners, and I'm joined as always by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily Grace Deal, what are we talking about today?
We spent the last 3 episodes looking at our definition of a thriving team.
Yes.
The first element is everyone in our team is unified in purpose.
Yes,
right?
that unified in purpose. Okay.
So I came across this great quote from Mother Theresa that expands on that idea of unity.
Okay, let's hear it.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead to peace.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about how humility plays into leadership, because humility in leadership is interesting, I think, because it's when we think about leadership, I think our normal picture, again, we go back to the person pushing the boulder up the hill.
Boulder guy.
They're strong, they're decisive, we come in, we make the hard choices, make the hard calls, take on all the weight. Like there's a strength to that, right? But to real leadership, we talk all the time about the ability to be vulnerable requires some humility. And it's almost the opposite of what we think of as the real ultimate strong leader, right?
Right, but that is the real strength, right? That's the real.
Yeah, to be humble. And I love this definition of humility. Right before we started, we came across this quote from C.S. Lewis. It says, true humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less.
Yeah, I really like that.
Because it is not ultimately about, I'm not capable, I'm highly capable.
Right, yes, yeah.
It's about the spotlight not being on me. It's about it being on others and the team and how are we serving. And ultimately that humility, we talk all the time about when people are emotionally unhealthy, they're inward focused, right? How does this affect me versus being outward focused? How does this affect my team? And that requires some humility. But
yeah, to me, in that C.S. Lewis quote, it's like a muscle that you're working on, right? You're not that you're thinking of yourself. Just you have to continuously be able healthy enough to think of others first. Yeah. And the more you can do that, it becomes easier.
That's a good way of thinking about it, because if we are unhealthy, we're going to default to us. It's not like we are saying, I'm going to focus on me right now.
Right.
It really is ultimately that's just our default. And so ultimately we have to build that muscle of saying, I'm going to stop. I'm going to intentionally think about the person across from me. How is this affecting them? How can I help
Right.
them?
It's not thinking of yourself as bad because you thought about yourself too often. It's being able to think about yourself enough that you can be a healthy leader and then have the ability to think about others more. Yeah,
just turn that spotlight a little bit. And ultimately, I love when Mother Theresa talks about this. She says, only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead to peace. When we are unified, we talked about being unified in purpose and the fact that we have a North Star. And that North Star, if we can all be unified in that, we're not fighting because that purpose is worth working for. It's worth championing healthy leadership and doing all the things we need to get there.
We've already said that. We've already agreed.
Yes, we've already agreed on that. And so that is ultimately worthy of our time and
any
our
other
disagreements
you may have, you can still point towards the
we can
we're
get
working
through
to this.
That. Yeah, you and I can disagree on how we're going to get there, but we know we're going to get there. That's where we're after.
Right.
And so there is a peace that comes with that unity. And ultimately we have to have that. When we have organizations that are fighting all over the place, it creates so many issues. When they all have their own idea of how things should be done and why they're doing them, and everybody can point to the leader and go, well, I know everything they should be doing, every choice they should make. There's a lack of unity there. There's too many different people with too many different directions.
Well, and then how much of your time is working on that, right? Instead of the real purpose that you had in mind, the original point.
Yeah, ultimately all that infighting just robs you of so much. And so if we are unified, we are more likely to be at peace.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that. And ultimately being the leader, as we think about this, we did an episode on leader versus dictator. And like a dictator, you can't force people to be unified. You can't walk in and say,
just
here's
agree.
what we're doing and you will do it
I try
no
that all the
matter
time
what.
with my boys. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I'm thinking historically about my 3 sons. No, that's never worked out.
Just
very
get
well.
along.
Yeah, why can't we just get along? You can't force it to happen. You have to inspire it. And there is something about a humble leader. We talk all the time about when you are a healthy leader, you are giving life to everyone around you. And ultimately, a humble leader is able to do that because it's not about them. And you feel that. You know that as you're talking about things, they are considering you. And that humility creates that unity, creates that peace.
Yeah.
I like that. Leaders, let's talk about next steps. Where do you struggle with humility? Do you find yourself with the spotlight on you too much and the inability to then turn it onto other people, to be outward focused? If you're wrestling with that, start by going back to your definition of a great leader. Is it the person who's got it all figured out all the time? Is it the person who's always strong, who never shows pain, who never shows any type of vulnerability? The ability to be humble is embracing our vulnerabilities sometimes. And it is that ability to think about others first. And so really you have to have that by being healthy. It's not going to happen by accident. And so I would just encourage you to make sure that if you are struggling with humility, and if you look at your organization and there is clearly disunity all over the place, you have to unite around purpose. And by uniting around purpose and being a humble leader, ultimately you're going to find the peace that you're looking for. Emily, if people are on this journey and they want to send us questions or problems or things that we can talk through, where do they send that?
To lab@forwardpartners.net.
Lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, where we're doing a ton of content, where do they find us?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner. If you want to continue to level up your leadership, check that out. Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you.
John, thank you. Porchlight Productions, thank you for the partnership. We always appreciate it. And thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, listening, all the different things that you do. Please share this with fellow leaders. Any episode you come across that is impactful for you, think of 3 other leaders that might impact and just send it to them. That means the world to us so we can continue to multiply our impact. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.